Table 36. Penalties for failure to comply with damages. Offense. Penalty. First offense, less than $200 in damages. Class C misdemeanor and is punishable by a fine not to exceed $500. First offense, $200 or more in damages. Class B misdemeanor and is punishable by a fine not to exceed $2,000, confinement in jail for up to 180 days or both. Hit and run crashes. If you are involved in a hit and run crash, report this crash to law enforcement for investigation. Texas Department of Insurance advises uninsured motorist coverage will pay for damages in hit and run crashes reported to a law enforcement agency. Aiding the injured. In the event you are involved in a crash that injures another person, consider the information below. 1. When calling a doctor or ambulance, ensure you take notice of your surroundings and state the location of the crash clearly and correctly. 2. Do not assume people are not injured simply because they say they are not. Send for skilled help as quickly as possible. Unskilled handling can do more harm than good. 3. Do not move or lift the victims unless it is absolutely necessary. If a victim must be moved, get help and try not to change the position in which the victim was found. 4. Stop serious bleeding with thick cloth pads as clean as possible. Apply with pressure by hand or by bandaging. 5. Keep the victims comfortable. If it is hot, cool the victims and provide shade as much as possible. If it is cool, cover the victim with blankets or coats if necessary and if available. Chapter 12. Pedestrian Safety. A driver should always pay special attention to pedestrians, persons on foot. However, there are certain safety rules pedestrians should follow. Laws and safety tips for pedestrians. 1. Obey traffic control signals unless otherwise directed by a pedestrian control signal. 2. Do not cross the street between two intersections. It is dangerous to cross in the middle of a street. 3. Use sidewalks when available and do not walk in the street. 4. Walk on the left side of the road if there are no sidewalks. Step off the pavement when a car approaches. 5. If you cross a street at any point other than within a crosswalk at an intersection, you, the pedestrian, must yield the right-of-way to all vehicles. 6. If you cross a street without using a pedestrian tunnel or overhead pedestrian crossing which has been provided, you, the pedestrian, must yield the right-of-way to all vehicles. 7. When crossing at a crosswalk, keep right if possible. Blind, partially blind, or disabled individuals may carry a white cane while walking. Others must not display a white cane on any public street or highway. 9. No person may stand in the road for the purpose of soliciting a ride, contributions, or business. A person may stand in a road to solicit a charitable contribution if authorized to do so by the local authority having jurisdiction over the road. 10. Do not suddenly walk or run into the street in the path of a vehicle. These sudden actions may make it impossible for the vehicle operator to yield. 11. Wait on the curb, not in the street, until the traffic signals change to green or red. Walk. 12. Always wear white or light-colored clothing and or carry a light or reflector when walking at night. 13. Look both ways before crossing the street and before stepping out from behind parked cars. 14. Be extra careful when getting off a streetcar or bus. 15. Get in and out of cars on the curbside of the road when possible. 16. Do not walk on a road when you are under the influence or consuming an alcoholic beverage. Alcohol is a contributing factor to pedestrian traffic crashes. 17. Pedestrians should be aware that local authorities may have ordinances that require pedestrians to comply with the directions of an official traffic control device, signals, signs, etc., and prohibit pedestrians from crossing a road in a business district or a designated highway except in a crosswalk. Laws and safety tips for motorists. 1. If you see a pedestrian crossing or attempting to cross the street, slow down, use your horn if necessary, and be prepared to stop. 2. Be alert to a pedestrian guided by an assistance animal or carrying a white cane. The white cane indicates the person may be blind, partially blind, or disabled. A driver shall take the necessary precautions to avoid injuring or endangering a pedestrian. Crossing or attempting to cross the street. The driver shall bring the vehicle to a full stop if injury or danger can only be avoided by that action. 3. Watch for individuals who are blind at bus stops, intersections, business areas, and near schools for the blind. Chapter 13. Bicycle Laws and Safety. Bicycle Traffic Laws. A bicycle is a vehicle. Any person riding a bicycle has the same rights and responsibilities that apply to a driver operating a vehicle, unless these cannot, by their nature, apply to a person operating a bicycle. Any person who operates a bicycle is subject to the same penalties for violating a traffic law as a person operating a motor vehicle. All traffic convictions will be placed on the individual's driver record, regardless if the conviction was for an offense committed on a bicycle or in a motor vehicle. Dues. 1. Always obey all traffic laws, signs, and signals. Stop at all stop signs and red lights. 2. Always ride with the flow of traffic. 3. Only ride on or astride a permanent and regular seat. 4. When operating a bicycle on a one-way road with 2 or more marked traffic lanes, ride as near as possible to the left curb or edge of the road. 5. Individuals riding 2 abreast on a lined road must ride in a single lane and not impede the flow of traffic. 6. Bicyclists may ride on the shoulder of the road. 7. Bicyclists must signal a turn or stop by. A. Using either their left arm pointing up or their right arm pointed horizontally to signal a right turn. B. Using their left arm pointed horizontally to signal a left turn. C. Using their left arm pointed downward to signal a stop. A person operating a bicycle who is moving slower than the other traffic on the road shall ride as near as possible to the right curb or edge of the road unless A. The person is overtaking and passing another vehicle proceeding in the same direction. B. The person is preparing for a left turn at an intersection or onto a private road or driveway. C. There are unsafe conditions in the road such as fixed or moving objects, parked or moving vehicles, pedestrians, animals, potholes, or debris, or D. The person is operating a bicycle in an outside lane that is less than 14 feet in width and doesn't have a designated bicycle lane adjacent to that lane, or the lane is too narrow for a bicycle and a motor vehicle to safely travel side by side. Don'ts. 1. Never carry more than the number of individuals it is designated or equipped for. 2. Never ride opposite the flow of traffic. 3. Never attach the bicycle or person to a moving streetcar or vehicle upon a road. 4. Never carry any package, bundle, or article which prevents the rider from keeping at least one hand on the handlebars. Shared lane marking. The shared lane marking may be used to 1. Assist bicyclists with lateral positioning in a shared lane with on-street parallel parking in order to reduce the chance of a bicyclist impacting the open door of a parked vehicle. 2. Assist bicyclists with lateral position in lanes too narrow for a motor vehicle and a bicycle to travel side by side within the same traffic lane. 3. Alert road users of the lateral location bicyclists are likely to occupy within the traveled way. 4. Encourage safe passing of bicyclists by motorists, or 5. Reduce the incidence of wrong-way bicycling. Bicycles must be properly equipped. 1. Every bicycle must be equipped with a brake, which will enable the operator to make the wheels skid on dry, level, clean pavement when applied. 2. Hearing-impaired bicycle riders may display a safety flag. 3. Every bicycle used at nighttime must be equipped with A. A lamp on the front emits a white light visible from a distance of at least 500 feet in front of the bicycle, and B. A red, DPS-approved reflector on the rear visible from distances of 50 feet to 300 feet. A red light on the rear visible from a distance of 500 feet may be used in addition to the red reflector. Bicycle safety guidelines. 1. You may be required by law to wear a helmet depending on your local laws. 2. When riding on pedestrian facilities, reduce speed and exercise caution. 3. Do not weave in and out of parked cars. 4. Move off the street to stop, park, or make repairs to your bicycle. 5. Select a route according to the rider's bicycling skill and experience. 6. Bicycles may be equipped with a mirror. 7. Wear light-colored or reflective clothing to make it easier for drivers to see you. Riding in wet weather. Water makes certain surfaces slick. Be aware of manhole covers and painted stripes on the road. Water also obscures some hazards. Watch for potholes filled with water. In addition, the visibility of motorists is greatly decreased in wet weather. Chapter 14. Additional Safety Tips. Defensive Driving. To avoid crashes, the defensive driver should 1. Stay alert and keep eyes moving to keep track of what is happening at all times. 2. Look for trouble spots developing all around. 3. Have a plan of action. For know that the law requires drivers to protect each other from their own mistakes. Safety belts. The driver and all passengers, regardless of age, in a passenger vehicle are required to use safety belts if occupying a seat in a vehicle. Equipped with a safety belt. Any child under 8 years old must be secured in a federally approved child car seat if occupying a seat in a vehicle equipped with a safety belt, unless the child is more than 4 feet 9 inches tall. Safety belt requirements include pickups, SUVs, and trucks. Safety belts help keep you 1. From being thrown from your car. Your chances of being killed are 5 times greater if you are thrown from your car. 2. From hitting the dashboard too hard. 3. In better control of your car. Whatever your reason for not wearing safety belts, it is dangerous and violates state law. Penalties for driving without a safety belt. A driver can receive a citation for not wearing his/her safety belt and for not having each child under the age of 17 in a safety seat or safety belt. Anyone who is at least 15 years of age can receive a citation for not wearing a safety belt. There are no exemptions to the safety belt laws. However, there are some defenses to prosecution for postal workers, individuals who deliver the newspaper, utility workers, solid waste truck workers, certain commercial farm vehicle operators, or medical reasons with a physician's note. Table 37. Penalties for not wearing a required safety belt. Conviction. Penalty star. Driving a vehicle without a safety belt. A fine of $25 to $50. Passengers under 8 years old and less than 4 feet 9 inches tall riding while not properly secured in a child passenger safety seat system. A fine of $25 to $250. Passengers at least 15 years old riding without a safety belt. A fine of $25 to $50. Passengers under 17 years old riding without a safety belt. Fine assessed to driver. A fine of $100 to $200. Children under 18 years old riding in an open bed pickup or open flatbed truck. Fine assessed to driver. A fine of $25 to $200. Asterisk additional suspensions may apply. Vehicles with open beds. It is an offense to drive an open bed truck, an open flatbed truck, or to draw an open flatbed trailer when a child who is younger than 18 years of age is occupying the bed of the truck or trailer. It is a defense to prosecution that the driver was operating or towing the vehicle. 1. In a parade or in an emergency. 2. To transport farm workers from one field to another field on a farm-to-market road, ranch-to-market road, or county road. Side a municipality. 3. On a beach. 4. That is the only vehicle owned or operated by members of a household, or 5. In a hayride permitted by the governing body of or a law enforcement agency of each county or municipality in which the hayride will occur. Vehicles with open beds towing a boat or watercraft. It is an offense for a person to operate a motor vehicle that is towing a boat or personal watercraft in or on which a person who is younger than 18 years of age is riding. It is a defense to prosecution that the driver was operating the motor vehicle. 1. In a parade. 2. In an emergency or 3. On a beach. In bed passenger restrictions. It is a Class B misdemeanor to operate a truck, road tractor, or truck tractor when another person occupies a trailer or semi-trailer, being drawn by the truck, road tractor, or truck tractor. It is a defense to prosecution that the person, when towing the vehicle, did not know another person occupied the trailer or semi-trailer. 2. Occupying the trailer or semi-trailer was in a part of the vehicle designed for human habitation. 3. Operating or towing the vehicle was A. In a parade or in an emergency. B. Transporting farm workers from one field to another field on a farm-to-market road, ranch-to-market road, or county road. Outside a municipality, or C. In a hayride permitted by the governing body of or a law enforcement agency of each county or municipality in which the hayride will occur. When stopped by law enforcement. If you are stopped by law enforcement, it is suggested you 1. Slow down and move the vehicle safely to the right of the road. 2. Park your vehicle as far to the right of the main traffic lane as possible. If available, park on the right shoulder, or, if unavailable, park on a nearby well-lighted side street or parking lot away from high-volume traffic. 3. Place the vehicle in a parking position, set the emergency brake, turn the engine off, and activate the hazard warning lights. For if at night, turn on the interior dome light. 5. Remain in the car, lower the driver's window if you feel safe to do so. Keep both hands clearly in sight on the steering wheel. Wait for the law enforcement officer to give you instructions. An officer may approach from either side of the vehicle. 6. Before reaching into your glove box or under the seat to retrieve your proof of insurance or driver's license, inform the officer of where the items are located and follow the officer's directions. 7. If asked to exit the vehicle, check for passing vehicles to exit safely. It advises passengers to remain in the car unless other instructions are given by the law enforcement officer. And 9. At the conclusion of the traffic stop, give the appropriate signals and safely return to the proper lane of traffic when released by the law enforcement officer. Obligations, responsibilities, courtesy, and safety. State law requires a driver to immediately stop when approached by an authorized emergency vehicle, and you may be arrested if you do not stop immediately. If you feel the area is unsafe to stop immediately, or if you have concerns the vehicle is not a real police vehicle, you can take the following steps to minimize the risk of being arrested or charges being filed against you. Turn on your hazard lights and drive slowly and carefully below the posted speed limit. You may call 911 and remain on the phone with the operator while you stop and verify the officer's identity. You may drive to a nearby well-lighted, populated place to stop. It is important to understand that law enforcement jurisdictions overlap, and a local 911 call center operator may not be able to immediately determine what officer is working in that area at that time. If you stop in an unsafe location, such as on a bridge or a high traffic roadway, an officer may direct you over the public address speaker to move to a safer location. Follow the officer's directions. Law enforcement officers, drivers, and passengers should respond with courtesy during traffic stops and other officer/citizen interactions. Drivers and passengers should not exit the vehicle unless asked to do so. Exiting your vehicle may be perceived as aggressive behavior and a threat to the officer's safety. Drivers and passengers inside a vehicle should not attempt to reach, dig, or search for their license or insurance documents before or while an officer is approaching. Drivers who transport handguns in their vehicles are encouraged to keep them in a separate location from license and insurance documentation. During a traffic stop, the driver and any passengers are subjected to an investigative detention, which may only last for a reasonable amount of time. Passengers can ask the officer if they are free to leave and do so if the officer agrees. Law enforcement may ask questions during this time. You cannot be punished for refusing to answer questions. However, drivers are required by law to display a driver license when requested by an officer. If you are lawfully detained or arrested, you are also required to give your name, residence address, and date of birth. A driver or a passenger who gives law enforcement a false or fraudulent identity or false answers may be arrested. It may be to your benefit to speak to law enforcement, such as to convey the reason you may have an emergency, or for the driver to provide the officer your name, address, and date of birth if you do not have your driver license with you. Law enforcement may also ask for consent to search your vehicle or person. You may grant or deny the request to search. However, if an officer has probable cause to believe that your vehicle contains evidence of a crime, it can be searched without your consent. If an officer reasonably believes that you have a weapon, the officer can conduct a pat-down search of your person and the immediate area around you, including areas of your vehicle. It is unlawful to physically resist a search, but you have the right to notify the officer that you do not consent to any search. Complaints or concerns. If you believe an officer has acted inappropriately during a traffic stop or other encounter, you should report that conduct to the officer's superiors and follow agency guidelines for submitting complaints against officers as soon as possible. Officers will normally provide their names and badge numbers on request when practical. Due to the overlapping of jurisdictions, drivers should make sure they identify the correct agency as well as any identifying aspects of the officer and law enforcement vehicle. Drivers should refrain from arguing the validity of a charge during the traffic stop or detention. Signing a citation is not admitting guilt. It simply confirms your promise to pay the fine or contact the court. If you do not agree with the charge brought against you and wish to contest it, you should argue your case before a judge or request a jury trial and acquire the services of an attorney to represent you. False identification offense. A person commits an offense if he/she gives a false or fictitious name to a law enforcement officer who has lawfully arrested or detained the person. Evading arrest or detention. A person commits an offense if he intentionally flees from a person he knows is a peace officer or federal special investigator attempting to lawfully arrest or detain him/her. You will be subject to higher penalties if you use a vehicle or watercraft while evading arrest or cause injury to another person. Road rage. Each year, road rage, also referred to as aggressive driving, causes hundreds of injuries and deaths. Aggressive driving occurs when a driver becomes angry or irritated and, as a result, fails to follow the rules of the road. An aggressive driver will intentionally aggravate or attempt to aggravate other drivers and, in some cases, cause bodily injury, property damage, or death to others. Tips to avoid road rage. 1. Plan your trip or schedule in advance. Allow extra time in case your vehicle breaks down or you encounter traffic congestion due to a crash, road construction, or rush hour traffic. 2. When caught in traffic, do not get angry. Try to relax and listen to music you enjoy. Remember, traffic congestion is usually temporary and you will soon be on your way. 3. Should you need to use the horn, tap the horn. Do not hold down the horn. Do not confront other drivers or make obscene gestures. 4. Do not cut into another driver's lane of traffic. Properly signal your intentions to change lanes and change lanes when it is safe to do so. Turn your turn signal off after you complete your lane change. 5. Do not intentionally slow down, slam on your brakes, or speed up to keep someone from passing or entering your lane of travel. 6. Do not tailgate. Follow at a safe distance. 7. Always remember to drive friendly and report aggressive driving to the local authorities. Neighborhood electronic vehicles and motor-assisted scooters. A neighborhood electronic vehicle is defined as a vehicle subject to Federal Motor Safety Standard 500 with a top speed of 35 miles per hour on a paved level surface. A motor-assisted scooter is defined as a self-propelled device with when at least 2 wheels in contact with the ground. 2A braking system capable of stopping the device under normal operating conditions. 3. A gas or electric motor not exceeding 40 cubic centimeters. 4. A deck designed to allow a person to stand or sit while operating the device, and 5. The ability to be propelled by human power alone. Both vehicles may only be operated on a street or highway when the posted speed limit is 45 miles per hour or less for a neighborhood electronic vehicle and 35 miles per hour or less for a motor-assisted scooter. Electronic Personal Assistive Mobility Devices, EPAMD, PAMs such as a Segway is defined as a two non-tandem wheeled device designed for transporting one person that is self-balancing and propelled by an electric propulsion system with an average power of 750 watts or 1 horsepower. An EPAMD may be operated on 1. A sidewalk, 2. A path set aside for the exclusive operation of a bicycle, 3. On a residential street, road, or public highway with a maximum speed limit of 30 miles per hour only. While making a direct crossing of a highway in a marked or unmarked crosswalk. B. Where no sidewalk is available, or C. When so directed by a traffic control device or law enforcement officer. When operated on a public roadway, an EPAMD shall be ridden as close as practicable to the right-hand edge. Your keys to safe driving: a good vision, obey traffic laws, proper care of vehicle, don't depend on yearly inspections, perform regular maintenance as needed, courtesy, safety comes before the right of way, proper signaling, failure to signal is dangerous and inconsiderate, fitness to drive, let someone else drive if you are not physically or mentally alert, transporting cargo and materials. To prevent cargo or loose materials from falling or spilling from a car, truck, trailer, etc. onto the road and causing a crash or damage. To the roads, drivers must comply with certain state requirements. A vehicle must be equipped and maintained to prevent loose material from escaping by blowing or spilling, and a vehicle bed must not have a hole, crack, or other opening through which loose material can escape. 2. Be enclosed by side panels and on the front by a panel or the vehicle cab. 3. Be enclosed by a securely closed tailgate or panel on the rear to prevent spillage. 4. Cover the load securely at the front and back of the load, unless completely enclosed in a compartment or the load does not blow or spill over the load-carrying compartment. No person shall load or transport any loose material on or over the public highways, such as dirt, sand, gravel, wood chips, or other material except agricultural products in their natural state, capable of blowing or spilling from a vehicle unless 1. The bed carrying the load is completely enclosed on both sides and on the front and rear by a tailgate, board, or panel, and all must be so constructed as to prevent the escape of any part of the load by blowing or spilling, and 2. The top of the load is covered with a canvas, tarpaulin, or other covering firmly secured to the front and back to prevent the escape of the load because of blowing or spilling. This requirement does not apply to A. Any load-carrying compartment that completely encloses the load, or B. The transporting of any load of loose materials not blowing or spilling over the top of the load-carrying compartment. Safety chains. Safety chains are required when certain types of vehicles are towing trailers in order to prevent the trailer from breaking loose and causing a serious crash. Person may not drive a passenger car or light truck while towing a trailer, semi-trailer, or house trailer on a public highway in Texas unless safety chains are attached from a trailer, semi-trailer, or house trailer to the towing vehicle. Types of safety chains and the manner of attachment must be approved by DPS. The requirements of this law do not apply to a passenger car or light truck towing a trailer or semi-trailer used for agricultural purposes or to any trailer or semi-trailer or house trailer operated in compliance with the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations. Towing. When one vehicle is towing another, the drawbar, chain, rope, cable, or other connection must 1. Not be longer than 15 feet from one vehicle to another. 2. Be strong enough to pull all weight drawn. 3. Attach a white flag not less than 12 inches square. For not tow more than 3 vehicles attached to it by mounting the front wheels of trailing vehicles on the bed of another vehicle, and leaving only the rear wheels in contact with the roadway. This limit does not apply to trailers transporting poles, pipes, machinery, or other structures that cannot be easily dismembered. Carbon monoxide. Beware of carbon monoxide poisoning. Cars produce carbon monoxide, which is a deadly gas. Make sure you are getting plenty of fresh air. Don't. 1. Leave the motor running in a garage. 2. Leave vents open when following closely behind another car. 3. Leave the motor running and the windows closed while the car is parked. 4. Drive with a defective muffler or exhaust system. 5. Use the heater or air conditioner in a parked car with the windows closed in an enclosed space. If you encounter a carbon monoxide poisoning victim, move them to fresh air and call 911. As a driver, you should know all the safety and operational features of the vehicle you are driving. Make sure you and your passengers are traveling in a vehicle that is safe and in good working order. Drive safely and obey all criminal and traffic laws. Appendix A. Glossary of terms. A. Acceleration lane, a lane that permits drivers entering a highway to accelerate to the speed of traffic. Aggressive driving, the behavior of driving in a combative, forceful, or competitive manner. Angle parking, the vehicle is parked diagonally to the curb. Autocycle, an autocycle constitutes a motor vehicle other than a tractor that is designed to have when propelled not more than 3 wheels on the ground. 2. Equipped with a steering wheel. 3. Equipped with seating that does not require the operator to straddle or sit astride the seat. And 4. Manufactured and certified to comply with federal safety requirements for a motorcycle. An autocycle can be operated under a Class C driver license. B. Backup lights, white lights at the rear of the vehicle telling other drivers you are backing up. Basic speed law. You may not drive faster than is safe and prudent for existing conditions, regardless of posted speed limits. Bicycle, every device propelled by human power upon which any person may ride, having 2 tandem wheels, either of which is more than 14 inches in diameter. Blind spot, an area rear view mirrors cannot show. Blood alcohol concentration, BAC, the amount of alcohol in the blood expressed as a percentage of ethyl alcohol related to the volume of fluids in the bloodstream. Blowout, the sudden loss of tire air pressure while driving. Bodily injury insurance covers the driver who is at fault against claims. Braking distance, the distance a vehicle travels from the time brakes are applied until it stops. Cancellation, the withdrawal of a driver license or privilege until the driver is qualified or eligible. Carbon monoxide, colorless, odorless, tasteless gas contained in the exhaust fumes of gasoline engines. Center of gravity, point around which the vehicle's weight is evenly distributed. Central vision, the field of vision around your focal vision in which you can see clearly while looking straight ahead that aids in determining vehicle position to the road. Clutch pedal, the pedal in a manual transmission vehicle that enables a driver to shift gears. Collision contact between 2 or more objects, as when 2 vehicles collide into each other. Collision insurance provides insurance coverage to pay the costs of repair or replacement of your vehicle involved in a collision. Color blindness, inability to distinguish colors. Commercial motor vehicle, a vehicle used to transport/deliver goods or passengers for compensation between points on a fixed scheduled route. The vehicle 1 has a gross combination weight or gross combination weight rating of 26,001 or more pounds, including a towed unit with a gross vehicle weight or gross vehicle weight rating of more than 10,000 pounds. 2 has a gross vehicle weight or a gross vehicle weight rating of 26,001 or more pounds. 3 is designed to transport 16 or more passengers, including the driver, or 4 is transporting hazardous materials and is required to be placarded under 49 CFR. Part 172, Subpart F. Comprehensive insurance provides coverage for replacement or repair of your vehicle from damage other than from a collision. Controlled access highway, a highway where vehicles can enter and exit only at interchanges. Controlled braking, reducing speed by firmly stepping on and squeezing the brake pedal and maintaining steering control of the vehicle. Controlled intersection, the intersection at which signals or signs determine the right-of-way. Controlled railroad crossing controlled by flashing red lights and or crossing gates. Crossbuck, large white X-shaped sign located prior to a railroad crossing. D. Deceleration lane, expressway lane used to slow your vehicle without blocking vehicles behind you. Defensive driving, protecting yourself and others from dangerous and unexpected driving situations by using a space management system. Delayed green light indicates one side of the intersection has a green light while the light for oncoming traffic remains red. Denial, the withholding of a driver license or privilege because the person is ineligible for a license. A driver license may be issued when eligibility requirements are met. Depressant, a drug or alcohol that slows the response of the central nervous system. Depth perception, the ability to judge distance between yourself and other objects. Designated driver, the person who decides ahead of time not to drink alcoholic beverages and is appointed to drive others who do drink. Distractions, when a driver is delayed in the recognition of information needed to accomplish the driving task safely because some event, activity, object, or person within or outside the vehicle compelled or tended to induce the driver's shifting attention away from the driving task. Drag race, the operation of 1, 2 or more vehicles from a point side by side at accelerating speeds in a competitive attempt to outdistance each other, or 2, 1 or more vehicles over a common selected course from the same place to the same place for the purpose of comparing speeds, or power of acceleration of the vehicles in a specified distance of time. Driving under the influence, DUI, a Class C misdemeanor for which a minor can be charged in Texas if driving with any detectable amount of alcohol in the minor system, an offense for which a driver can be charged in some states if the driver's blood alcohol concentration is above 0.05. Driving while intoxicated, DWI, an offense for which a driver can be charged in all states if the driver's blood alcohol concentration is above a certain level. E. Entrance ramp, a ramp leading onto a highway. Exit ramp, a ramp leading off a highway.